Here we are once again, mounted up and saddled up and ready to go. It's the Outlaw Posse now in effect, and I'm going to have a guest on here in just a second. We'll have Kuz from Kuz's Corner. He's going to bring up something that we thought might have been dead, and that is conference expansion and realignment. It seems like it's percolating back up again, and there's some pretty reliable sources that are backing up some of the stuff that's being said about possibly the ACC rating the Big 12, but we'll let Kuz get to that in just a second. Before we get started, I'd like to ask you guys and gals to hit the like button and share it out to your buddies and whatnot. Let's get this party crunk. That like button, you smash that, it helps the algorithm and pushes the algorithm. Also, before I get started, I'd like to give a Four Horsemen shout out to that Christian Fam channel. Alice Stokes, Daryl Madden, and Dakota Green are the Four Horsemen shout outs of the day. Also, we had a prayer request for Rick Birdwell. He just had a major surgery and he has recovered nicely, so the prayers for him worked. So now I'm going to bring in a guy that I've collaborated with quite a bit. I'm going to bring in Kuz from Kuz's Corner.
What is up, Outlaw of College Football and the Outlaw Posse?
That's right. It's now in effect. And Kuz is now mounted up too. As a matter of fact, Kuz has here's his little, what's this thing's called again?
It's a drink koozie.
It's a Kuz koozie. The tongue twister too at that. Got the Kuz on the front and the top shelf college football content on the back. Y'all can head over to Kuz's Corner and get you some pretty cool merchandise. He's actually got a brand new label. But I'll let you introduce yourself, Kuz.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, Outlaw. It's always a pleasure to get on with you, man, and we always have a good time. But I'm over on Kuz's Corner. Obviously, you can see the spelling on the screen there. C-O-U-Z is how you spell Kuz. I cover West Virginia, obviously, but I also cover some other stuff in the Big 12, and I do a lot related to conference realignment. Which is what I think, going to be a big topic we're going to touch on tonight. But you can also interact with me on Twitter, X, whatever Elon calls it tomorrow, at Couz206, at COUZ206. Come check me out. And I have a basketball channel, too, with a partner of mine called Hoops from the Hills, where we cover West Virginia and Big 12 basketball.
And y'all touch a little bit on just college basketball in general, especially around playoff time, right?
Yeah, I mean, we try to. I mean, we mainly focus on West Virginia for now because we just don't have time to cover a lot else. But anything related to basketball in the Big 12 conference realignment, we'll talk about. Anything that affects West Virginia, we try to talk about it, basically.
A lot of people already up in here. We see
my man Killer Breeze.
They're basically, I guess they're talking about. There's been a rumor going around that old Linky boy, Lincoln Riley's putting out fillers to the NFL and whatnot.
Yep.
Maybe to package him and Caleb as a deal. I don't know. I've heard that for a while, and I always thought it was just people trolling and wishful thinking on their part. But he did make a little statement a couple of weeks ago or last week that he was actually thinking about retiring because of something that happened to Mike Leach and one of his other mentors. But just like Jonathan Lewis said, sort of Bush League to use a man's death as your excuse for quitting. I mean, that, Mike Leach could have passed away from numerous things, man. There's other stressors in life besides your actual job, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's, I don't know, man. It sounds to me like it's an easy way out. So he can go to the NFL. That's what it sounds like to me. But
it sounds like he's trumping it up. So like Urban Meyer or Urban Liar did a while back. He used to, every time something bad would happen, he'd pull the health card or whatnot and try to pull out. That's Urban Meyer's motive.
He's probably mad because he's getting less attention than Deion.
Yeah, a guy of mine, a friend of mine named Sheldon Lamy was talking about Deion Sanders was going to go to USC. That'd be a natural fit for him.
Boy, wouldn't it though?
Like if he keeps losing games, he ain't going to be going nowhere. He's going to be back at the HBCU level.
Yeah,
lost 3 out of the last 4.
If anybody thought he was going to win, anybody thought he was going to come in and win 19 games in year one, that's unrealistic, in my opinion. Now, he could surprise me, but I don't see it happening.
Let's get to what I brought you here for, brother. It seems like there might be some talk of possible conference realignment and expansion again, involving the ACC. They just added 3 teams, but from what you were saying in your video, seems like they may be some more expansion yet to come, maybe even possibly raiding the Big 12.
Yeah, that's what's being talked about. Basically, there was an article written in the News and Observer, which is a newspaper in North Carolina, and basically the article, the point of the article was to show the timeline of when the ACC first started talking about adding Stanford, Cal, and SMU in early August, all the way through September 1st when they actually voted them in. And it tells a story about NC State and how they were against it at first. They were with North Carolina, Clemson, and Florida State as far as not wanting to expand and add Western teams because they didn't think it made any sense. Well, at some point in the process, NC State changed their mind. And this story kind of goes through the timeline of events that occurred up to that point. But there's a lot of interesting information in there. Some people involved in the process. There's a guy he's a Wake Forest alum. He's very influential in the college football, college athletics world. He's a major donor for Wake Forest, but his name was Ben Sutton. He used to own ISP Sports, which later sold to IMG. Most of you have heard of IMG College, Learfield IMG Sports. They have all kinds of different spinoffs of the IMG name, IMG brand, but I think they even own UFC now. They own WWE, I think. They're a massive company. But he used to own a company that sold to them. He sold it for like $2.4 billion. That's billion with a B. But he's really close friends with a lot of conference commissioners, athletic directors, school presidents, you name it, right? And he basically, in a message to the NC State chairman, asked them, was lobbying for them to approve this expansion. And in there, he talked about basically how the ACC had to be proactive and not reactive like they usually are, and they needed to make some moves, and that this expansion would basically be an insurance policy because they know that Florida State's planning to leave. They know that North Carolina's probably going to leave, maybe Virginia, maybe Clemson. They know some other teams are planning to leave the ACC. And if the ACC drops below 14 teams, their deal with ESPN changes. So they wanted to bring these 3 schools in as kind of an insurance policy, which is what kind of most of us assumed. Well, he verified that. Well, a couple of interesting statements that were made in his messages back and forth with the NC State chairman. And one of those was this, and I'm going to read the quote to you. It says, let me find it here real quick, enlarge my screen so I can read it. He says, we've all been watching this movie for 25 years as the ACC consistently waited for others to make the first move. And by the time the league's leaders decided to respond, they were totally reactionary and playing for 3rd and 4th place in a 5-horse race. And he goes on to talk about, here's the big quote I wanted to read. It says, allowing expansion, Sutton argued, would be like buying insurance for the future members of the ACC. The ACC contract with ESPN requires 14 full members in the league. If Carolina and Virginia leave, by taking Cal and Stanford, you take no haircut. And listen to this quote. If FSU goes independent, and it says in parentheses, they are seriously considering it, SMU could fill the gap. So FSU, how they're out here looking to try to get private money in there and all this private equity money. Now we know why they might be doing that. They might be actually considering going independent and instead of going to another conference.
Yeah, they'd probably go independent for a few years until that, I guess until they were able to get out of that grant of rights or something. I don't
maybe.
know.
Maybe. I see it.
Out of that, but it seems to me like since the ESPN owns the rights to both conferences, they could just say, hey, look, we're going to take some teams from the ACC and we're just going to put them in the SEC. Mm-hmm. Why can't they do that?
I don't know. I've heard that argument, and it makes some sense, but why would I just don't know that. Number one, would the SEC want to do that? Number one, I'm not sure how. I don't know if Florida State's as attractive to the SEC as they think they are, and that's no offense to Florida State. But number one, Florida's not going to want Florida State in the conference, right? Because they want to dominate the floor of recruiting, and I mean, Sankey's been pretty adamant he doesn't want to expand. Now you got to take that with a grain of salt because they always say that, right? And then they end up expanding anyway.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like
But
Kevin Moore said they didn't want to expand. They took USC and UCLA.
right. So I mean, I know they have to say the right things, but and I don't know, man. I mean, it's you could make a lot more money if Florida State, ESPN could make more money if Florida State's playing, Alabama instead of playing Boston College. You know what I mean? So there would be, seems to me like there would be an incentive there, but ACC still has that. There's still a buyout and everything from the ACC standpoint that they would have to deal with. That's outside of just the grant of rights. You know what I'm saying? So there would be a lot of negotiation that would have to take place for them to make that happen, even if the ESPN was on board. And let's face it, ESPN, I saw right up yesterday, their revenues are down 20% right now. So ESPN's not doing great financially right now either. So they may not want to pay them any more money.
In a certain way, I wish the SEC had a contract with Fox or somebody like that, man, because I don't like the angles and the woke agendas that ESPN seems to try to, push. Sometimes they do it in a sneaky, backhanded way too. So I'm just not a big fan of ESPN. The only reason I watch ESPN is for to watch college football. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be watching any of them morons on there like Stephen A. Smith or Keyshawn. Where's Keyshawn at? Is he on Fox?
I don't even know. I don't watch any of it. If you want
I know Keyshawn Johnson was all up, con time Deion Sanders' ass. He was talking about how he was going to win 8 or 9 games after he lost the first 2. He still thought he was going to win 9 games. And I'm like, man, that's just the boys talking in his head, man. Him and Deion are boys, and they both no surprise, they're both, pretty much attention whores and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah. But that article, the next statement that I thought was pretty surprising is the next paragraph of that article, where you talked about the Big 12 coming into play. Here's where that comes into play. That Ben Sutton guy, that Wake Forest alum, he says, in the long term, Sutton envisioned a time after the Big 12 television rights deal expires in 6 years when the ACC could target TCU and West Virginia. Do that, his message went, and it ensures the ACC exists until such time as a top-down solution comes in college football, which he thinks will happen in the next 3 to 10 years, whereby the top 24 to 36 teams form their own alliance, and everyone else scrambles to develop the next level.
Who said that?
The Wake Forest booster.
That might happen, man. I'd hate to see it happen, to be honest with you, because that's why I like college football, man. It's unique in that it has so many different traditions. And there's always that element that, a smaller team or smaller market can just up and win a championship at some point. It don't happen a lot, but it's always there. I mean, with the NFL, man, you're just microcosm down to the top 32 markets in the United States. So I just hope it don't go like that, man. If anything, I could see them cutting the fat with, the MAC conference and the Sun Belt and the AAC and Mountain West. I could see them cutting the fat with those. That wouldn't bother me as much. But if you start getting rid of teams from the Big 12 and the ACC, that's going to bother me just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't really think. I mean, that might just be that guy's vision or his way he wants it to happen. I don't really see it happening that way, especially with TCU. I mean, why would TCU want to leave a conference that's based in Texas with 3 other teams in Texas just to go to the ACC where they only have 1 team in that part of the country? To me, that makes 0 sense for them.
Yeah, it does to me as well, because right now TCU actually has a, sort of a badge to hold over SMU. They got the Big 12 invite a while back. They've had that advantage over SMU for quite some time. They got the Fort Worth, Dallas area basically to themselves for the most part. And now SMU finally gets what they consider a Power 5 badge. But, by TCU going there with them, then they no longer really have anything to hold over them. The Big 12 badge to me is more of a local interest for TCU and their fans and the people that they play. The teams that they play are natural fit, most of them.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, and they have a rivalry with Baylor that's pretty intense.
Right, the Baptist versus the Methodist.
Yeah, I mean Well, no, Baptist versus I don't know what TCU is. I don't think they claim to be anything anymore. They're ashamed of it. But anyway, that's a whole nother.
Well, I guess that would be more SMU. It'd be Baptist versus Baptist.
I don't know. I don't even know. TCU doesn't even claim to be a Christian school anymore. So you tell me.
Right? I don't think Baylor does either after the Art Briles fiasco.
Oh, Baylor, they're pretty open about it. Their AD Mac Rhodes, he's not ashamed to talk about them being a Baptist school. He's pretty proud of it, actually.
Let me ask you something. Is on a different subject here.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a big week of college football for a lot of people. I think your team plays Oklahoma State, who's actually sort of righted the ship somewhat.
Yep.
Oh, Okie Pokey State, number 1 2 games in a row, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, Kansas State and Kansas.
So West Virginia had a pretty harrowing loss last week. That was something I wouldn't wish on anybody except for maybe USC and Auburn.
Yeah.
But how do you think your team's going to respond to losing a game like that? Do you think they're going to respond well and come back and win a big game against Oklahoma State? Because a win against Oklahoma State right now would be just what the doctor ordered.
Mm-hmm. Outlaw, I honestly don't know, man. We're all kind of waiting to see how they respond because this season has been so weird, man. We nobody expects us to be any good at all. We start out 4-1, win 2 games where our offense was almost non-existent, but we win anyway because our defense was fantastic in those games. Actually, we won 3 games where our defense played really, really well. Then we turn around and go to Houston, who is arguably the worst team in the conference, and our defense doesn't even get off the bus. So it's baffling. I don't really know what to expect, to be honest with you. It's going to depend on – and, losing like that is something I'm not sure – I don't think I've ever seen a West Virginia team lose on a Hail Mary like that. Now, we've lost some really close games over the years, some really heartbreaking losses, but not in that fashion. And not to a team that you were clearly better than either. I mean, we were better than Houston.
It was sort of weird in a way. Y'all drove down the field and y'all had it wasn't like a Hail Mary, but it was sort of like a dramatic comeback that you didn't think West Virginia was going to win, and they won in dramatic fashion. It was like almost a mini Hail Mary and then a full-on Hail Mary.
Yeah, I mean, we were down 10.
I've never seen anything like that. The swing of emotions in that game was so epic, man.
Yeah, we were down 10 with about 6 or 7 minutes to go in the game. We come down, we score, we get the 2-point conversion. We were down 11. I'm sorry, we were down 11 with about 6 or 7 minutes to go. We come down, score, get a 2-point conversion. We're down 3. We pooch kick it. They get the ball. We stop them. 3 and out. We get the ball back. It's 4th and 10 with less than a minute to go from about the 50-yard line. Obviously, we had to go for it. Not only did we get the first down, but the guy runs it. They throw a slant pass across the middle. He runs it in for a touchdown from 50 yards out.
Exactly. It's sort of
seconds on the clock.
It's like a mini Hail Mary, right?
Yeah.
In a way.
It was a miraculous finish. And what was so cool about it is Dana Holgorsen was talking about when he left West Virginia how he couldn't win at West Virginia with the recruits he got. Well, and it was a West Virginia kid who scored what would have been a winning touchdown.
It reminds me of the Georgia-Tennessee game a few years back. I don't know if you remember or not. Georgia sort of threw like a 40-yard Hail Mary, what they thought to win the game. They got penalized, which always happens, and then they got the extra 15 yards, and it set Tennessee up to throw their own version of the Hail Mary pass. And then Tennessee hit it, and that's when you saw Butch Jones run out on the field and just dropped his knees and start crying like a little baby.
Yeah.
We don't know if you remember that or not.
I don't remember that, actually. No, I don't.
Pretty epic game. You should look it up sometimes. We got a $20 donation coming in from Stink Ass Cat. Appreciate the hell out of that, brother. Stink Ass Cat says, OCF, Oklahoma is going to bring a can of whoop this weekend and beat the brakes off our opponents for the sake of DG and Levy. Let's go. So y'all playing UCF this week. I would like to point out to y'all, though, I know UCF hasn't looked very good the last few weeks, but from what I understand, their starting quarterback has been out. Ryan Plumlee, is that his name?
John Rice Plumlee.
Yeah. Plumlee's going to be back in that game. And Oklahoma's coming off a pretty emotional win. They have had a whole week to digest that, which I think was a good thing for Oklahoma. If they had to come back and play that week, they may have been susceptible to an upset. But because y'all had the week off, maybe y'all are grounded after that big win over Texas, and y'all won't get the upset bug from UCF this week. But I just want y'all to be on alert for UCF this week because they do have their quarterback back. What do you make of the whole Oklahoma situation? It's been like a Cinderella story this year, Kuz.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for them. I mean, to a degree. Obviously, I'm in their conference, but I'm glad they beat Texas. Nobody likes Texas, but I'm happy for Brent Venables. I like the dude. I like the way he builds a program. I like what he stands for. He does things with integrity. I want him to succeed as a head coach. I think the Oklahoma fans deserve that after what happened to them with Lincoln. So I'm happy. I'm happy that it's going that way for them. Until they play us, obviously, but that's another discussion. But yeah, I mean, I thought they would be better this year. I didn't expect them to be this good. But I thought if they could get by Texas, they would have a shot to go undefeated, and they still do. It's not going to be easy because they still have some, in this conference, even though the conference is quote unquote down this year, any team can come up and bite you on any weekend. So they're still going to have to bring their A game. But I tell you, with this UCF game, man, UCF's offense is good, but man, they can't stop anybody. I mean, Oklahoma might score 80 on them Saturday, man.
Well, they pulled a Con-Time Deion before Con-Time Deion. They let a 35-7 lead go by the books in the fourth quarter.
Against Baylor at home.
Yeah,
Baylor's terrible right now.
We've seen that a couple of times this year. I mean, my team almost done the same thing. That's what you said. Anybody can come up and beat you at any moment. College football's parity, it's here. And Alabama almost pulled a Con-Time too.
Yeah,
he was up 24-6 and had to basically hold on for dear life at the end, 24-21, and still almost screwed it up. So
I actually think, and this might be a different conversation, but I actually think the transfer portal is actually helping a little bit with parity because a lot of guys who might be second and third string on a quote unquote blue blood school may not be getting the chance he wants. He can go to another school and be a starter and ball out and play well, and he goes in with a chip on his shoulder because he wants to prove himself. And I think that's enabling some of these schools who may not be able to recruit this guy out of high school. A couple years later, they can go get him out of the portal. You know what I'm saying? And he might be good there.
If y'all don't mind, just jump out of the chat real quick and slash the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscription button as well as the bell because that lets you know when we're up and on the air. The like button pushes the algorithm for me. And also, as you saw, Stink Ass Cat got his comment highlighted and pushed to the top, and we read it out. If you want your comment highlighted and you want to get your comment read out, just hit that $sign at the bottom of the video. Make sure you write your comment out first, then hit send, or you won't get your money's worth. And we'll make sure we read it out because we got so many comments coming in here now. The room's starting to bud a little bit. We're now pushing up to 50 people. So we'll probably be at 80 or 90 here in a little bit. That's usually the way it runs in this one. I don't know how yours runs. But
it takes a while for people to know you're on here, man.
Also, you'll see people in here with their badges like Killer Breeze and Stink Ass Cat and whatnot. If you want to get your badge and get deputized, just hit the join button next to the subscribe button. And it's not but $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. You'll get your badge, you'll be deputized, and possibly get your Four Horsemen shout out on the podcast, as well as possibly be the comment of the day.
Hey, what happened to my badge?
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
I'm going to have to go make sure I'm still a member.
Yeah, some reason it keeps removing people's badges. I don't know. Johnny Fairlane with a $4.99 donation says, Riley says USC is close, really close, like 28 points close, right? I mean, they were this close to beating Notre Dame, right? What do you make of that, man? What do you make of that whole USC Riley situation?
I said it from the get-go. When I knew he took Alex Grinch with him, I said, he's just going to go to USC and do the same thing he did at Oklahoma. He's not going to be able to stop anybody. Alex Grinch is not a good defensive coordinator, man, in my opinion. And I don't know. It's almost like he's loyal to a fault here, man. He's not willing to get rid of coaches, man. If you're not willing to do that, I don't know. So I'm not really surprised.
He's one of those people, I think, that get it in his head that I want to prove I'm right. I'm going to do this hell bent or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to cost him in the end, man. And like I said, and like you said earlier, I think he's putting that out there about wanting to retire so that when he does leave in the middle of the night or something, he can say, look, I told y'all I was going to leave. I told y'all I was about to retire. And you can go back and look. That's what I said, that kind of deal.
Yep.
Now, Danny Stutzman is linebacker for Oklahoma. He made a pretty epic statement before the Texas game. Now, if he'd said this after the Texas game, I could be like, oh, man, it's not that big of a deal. But he said this before the Texas game. I just want your take on whether you think it's going to be a great idea for a T-shirt. Danny Stutzman said, Oklahoma only fears God. Texas fears Oklahoma. And he said that before the game. That's like Babe Ruth calling his shot, is it not?
Yeah. It's pretty ballsy. Because what if they lose that game? Then he looks like a moron.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the fact that he was able to do that,
yeah.
as a matter of fact, I think I got something here.
Oh, there it is.
I couldn't believe he done that, man. And there's actually a picture of him and Brett Venables wearing that shirt. So
really?
Brett Venables was in on that shit.
Wow. That's surprising.
But
1,500 T-shirts a day. That's all. That's amazing.
He's making a lot of money off those T-shirts, I think. But it reminds me of, it's like you can see something legendary happening before your eyes. I think the guy's going to be a legend at Oklahoma before it's said and done. Going to be like Brian Bosworth or something. What do you think?
He's good.
Now we got some big games on the docket this week. I was going to get your take on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama, my team, plays Tennessee this week.
That'll be a good one.
Big game for both teams. Alabama's only lost one game to this point, but it just feels like we've lost 2 or 3 the way we've been playing. We still haven't lost a game in conference, so we're on course to go to the SEC title game if we continue to win out. Tennessee, they haven't looked great. Everybody thought Tennessee was back. They're not. They lost to Florida by double digits, and Florida's not even really that great a team, in my opinion. Do you think Alabama is still Alabama, or do you think they're on their way down a little bit?
I think they're slightly down, but I don't think they're down by. I mean, they're not down by a major amount. I mean, I think if Jalen Milroe can keep playing well, I think they'll be fine. I think that was really the one big question mark they had was the quarterback position, and he seems to be playing better now. So if he can keep it up, I think they'll be back to being Alabama again. But it's all going to be depending on how consistent he can be. Tennessee's offense is going to be a concern, but at the same time, Alabama's defense has played well, have they not?
Oh yeah, they're looking a lot better.
I think Alabama wins this one. It'll be a close game. I think
I may have to eat some crow on Kevin Steele because I was raising hell about that hire.
I thought that was an odd hire myself.
I thought
he struggled at a couple of his last stops.
I thought it was a lazy hire, and he hired him just because of comfortability. Him and Saban have been together before, and I thought he just maybe threw caution to the wind, said to hell with it. I'm just going to hire somebody because I've already went through a couple of candidates. As the offensive coordinator position was open too. We offered it to a few people before finally Tommy Rees decided to take it. We actually offered it to the Washington offensive coordinator.
Right.
And he turned us down. So, it's just Saban's had to do this so many times and think eventually it's probably going to catch up to him, and he's getting up in age. You can't win forever. Alabama will probably, end up having a lull after Saban leaves, but in my opinion, they'll re-arise like they always do. If you know your college football history, that's the way it's always been with Alabama.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as they keep playing good defense, they'll be fine. I mean, Saban is good enough to scheme around his weaknesses, you know what I mean, and work and utilize his strengths to hide his weaknesses. That they'll be fine. I mean, what's the rest of their schedule look like? I mean, I think they beat Tennessee in a close one. I was trying to pull up their schedule here. You probably know it by heart, but they got the LSU game is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, LSU's off again, on again, man. You never know.
They're going to have revenge on Alabama will have revenge on these next 2 games are revenge games for Alabama, so they'll probably come out.
Well, the good thing about that LSU game, I think we have a week off. I think we're off next week, so it'll give us time to get rested, and we got some injuries, get that in check, and then play LSU and maybe get back to the SEC title game. I don't know. I had a dream last night, like Martin Luther King. I had a dream that Alabama played Georgia in the SEC title game. And basically,
that'd be a shocker.
Basically, we got our ass handed to us.
Hey,
it wasn't a dream; it was a nightmare.
we're going to find out how important Brock Bowers is to Georgia.
I know, right? And the toughest part of their schedule is coming up. I know it sounds funny saying that, but actually, their schedule is going to get a little bit tougher for them now. I haven't got that on tap either, but from what I saw the other day, they still got they got to play Florida in a couple of weeks, and then I think who else is it? They got to play Missouri. Missouri's only lost 1 game. Missouri almost beat them last year. Missouri had them beat last year and let them off the hook. So, how many games do you think Georgia loses the rest of the year? Do you think they right the ship without Bowers, or do you think they're going to catch a couple of losses?
I was looking at when you was reading that. I was looking at Alabama's schedule because Alabama's schedule is not a cakewalk either. Who did you say they had?
Georgia.
Yeah,
Georgia has Florida in 2 weeks, and then I think they play Missouri and Ole Miss. Ole Miss might get them.
And I think they'll be fine. I still think they finish undefeated because their defense is just so good, man.
Think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, the defenses give up a few points this year.
Yeah, I mean they're not like they were last year, but last year they were like, they were like a level above everybody else on the defensive side of the ball. You know what I mean? Now they're just kind of, they've at least come back down to earth, but they're still really good.
1989 Ian makes a good point. I was talking to my buddy the other day, and I said, imagine if Michigan draws Alabama in the Final Four. McCarthy gets tackled by an Alabama linebacker. I guess he's referring to the fact that we injure a lot of quarterbacks. I said, Alabama makes the Final Four, close up the shop, boys. Yeah, Alabama's bad about backing in sometimes, and if you let them back in like that, and they're the underdog, they play a lot better. So you're right about that.
I'm surprised that Michigan got beat by TCU last year. I mean, I'm assuming they knew their signals, right?
That's what I heard. I'm hearing it. Oh, by the way, you brought up something. I just remembered. Saw it today. Maybe that's what you're referring to. Someone was saying that Jim Harbaugh has been accused of stealing signals.
Yes.
What's that all about?
Yeah, there's the NCAA is actually doing an investigation saying that they're investigating as to whether or not they were sending people into games, basically, to watch future teams on their schedule and potential college football playoff opponents, and so that they could steal their signals. Here's what's funny though, it's not against the rules to steal signals.
No, it's not.
But it's against the rules to pre-scout your opponents.
That don't make much sense.
It don't, does it? But it is against the rules.
Seems like the same exact thing to me.
Well, you know how the NCAA rules are, man. They're so vague, so that they can enforce them how they want to, I guess. But I mean, it is against the rules if they did it. He's claiming he knew nothing about it, but they'll be fully cooperative. But I mean, they're already in an investigation for recruiting violations. So
got suspended a few games, didn't he?
Yeah, for a self-imposed suspension that the NCAA accepted.
Sort of remind me of the Tom Brady situation where he got.
I look for him. He's just, you know what he'll do? He'll just leave and go to the NFL and leave Michigan to deal with the fallout.
What's up with the Michigan guys getting suspended for a few games? You know, Tom Brady got suspended for letting air out of balls.
Deflategate.
Although I thought that was pretty lame, I must say. I mean, so what? I mean, big deal. He put the air back in the ball.
Leave it to Tom Brady to come up with that idea, though.
He put the air back in the balls in the second half and beat the Colts even worse.
I know.
So, Mike Wilkerson's in the house with his badge. He's got a little funny comment here. Motel and vaginitis cream commercials are in Mary Caleb Williams' fingernails future. I heard a rumor that Mary Caleb Williams is saying that he wants part ownership in whatever team drafts him. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did, man. I'll tell you what.
You think that's bogus, or you think somebody's making that shit up, or is
I
that a
don't
real
know.
deal? Because he also said he's got like a list of 4 or 5 teams he wants to play for.
Yeah, I don't know. These college football players, now that they're making money, man, they think they're God sometimes, and it's irritating. I mean, that whole deal with Shador Sanders showing off his watch, I will never be able to respect that kid again because of that, no matter
Yeah,
how talented he is.
yeah, exactly. Jeff Payton says Georgia still has to go to Tennessee too. I forgot about Tennessee. Appreciate that, Jeff. Yeah, that still got to go to Tennessee, but I don't know, man. Tennessee, I just don't know about Tennessee. We'll know more about Tennessee this weekend, I reckon. But back to what you were saying, man. The whole, being a little flamboyant and talking a little smack, that's fine and everything.
Yeah,
But
that's
damn,
fine. I
man,
have no issue with that.
why you gotta throw the watches up? Why you gotta be at halftime making deals? And that wasn't something I thought maybe that was just made up. Someone just trolling, making shit up. But come to find out, that really happened because Stephen A. Smith was harping on it. I rarely ever watch him. So because he was saying something about con time Deion Sanders and his son, I watched it. And he was basically saying that it happened, that he was trying to sell merchandise at halftime for that Stanford game.
What did Stephen A. think it was a bad thing or a good thing?
Yeah, I mean, he was talking about how they got caught up in the shine of Deion Sanders, thinking they were already great. They said, and he was saying, well, look, Deion is already great. He's already been great, so he should be able to do the shine. And then he said, he's trying to criticize his son, but you can tell he's trying to take a little something off of it because he don't want to get his ass whooped, I guess, by Contown. He's like, I love him to death. But that was a bad look. And, he basically let him have it and said, look, man, y'all need to get out there and play. You haven't earned that shine yet. Deion Sanders has, is what he was saying.
Yeah, it's and then I think it was you that sent me the video of the player as he was leaving the Oregon game, reached up and grabbed something from one of the fans' neck and threw it up in the crowd.
Yeah, and they got in there defending it, saying, well, that fan was antagonizing. The fan had his back turned to him. The fan that was looking at him with the phone, he didn't even touch. Yeah. He went up there and grabbed dude's thing off his neck and just threw it. I don't know.
Yeah, they're taking it to another level, man, and they just now there is to play devil's advocate to my own argument. It could be that maybe other teams are doing the same thing. It's just not getting caught on video.
Well, I doubt any teams weren't out on the field taking stuff from them and throwing it in the stands.
No, I don't think so either.
So, I mean, and they want to try to, excuse Deion from it, but Deion's the one that's, he's the coach. He's the one that's leading by example.
He's building the culture, is he not?
He's the one that's teaching this thug mentality to me,
Yeah.
And at first it was all funny and jokes and games and everything was cute and all until this started happening. Now it's not cute anymore.
Yeah, I won't go as far as to call it the thug mentality because, I mean, they're not out beating people up, but gangbanging people, but it's definitely huh?
I was just laughing at you saying gangbanging. Go ahead.
You know what I mean. Gang activity. But now you got me off track, man.
That's crazy.
But
I know.
Yeah, it's definitely flamboyant is the best word for it, I guess, and cocky and and then it's. I mean, you're a 4-3 football team, man. Maybe you need to shut up and worry about playing football right now. And then
another thing is, Deion tries to put off this persona like he's some kind of preacher or some kind of big time Christian. And then he invites this rapper in that's been known for vulgarity and talking about women in not a very nice way. And you're going to have him as your guest speaker? Really? I mean, there's a lot of other people you could bring in to fire these guys up. Maybe a Mike Tomlin or somebody like that. I don't know. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I wasn't real happy with that choice either, but you got to think about it this way. I don't want to even get on a race conversation, but they come from a different culture than we do. Let's just leave it at that. And they look at things differently. So
Hank wants to know if we've seen the Notre Dame fan that chased down married Caleb Williams after the game, wanting to see those nails.
Yeah, that was epic, man. I appreciate you sending me that. I couldn't that kid. I say little. I'm about to say little kid, but that dude had some balls, man.
Yeah, when he was running, man, he seemed a little bit spastic. And I'm just like, what was this leading to? And then wham, there he is. He run right into Caleb Williams. I'm like, oh snap.
Yeah, and he posted that selfie that he took on. I saw a selfie of it before you sent me the video. I saw him take a selfie with Caleb Williams, and I just assumed it was a selfie. I didn't realize he actually made that comment to him while he was doing it. That took it to a whole nother level.
I heard Caleb Williams say, "Get away from me."
Huh?
I heard Caleb Williams say, "Get away from me." And I understand you saying, it's sort of unsportsmanlike of the kid to do that, but sort of in a way, does he not bring it on himself?
Yeah, to a degree he does. Yeah, to a degree.
If he's not out painting his fingernails and putting F Utah on them and stuff like that, maybe that doesn't happen. I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen at all if he never paints his fingernails, right?
You're right. Yeah, I don't like the painted fingernails either, man. I'm not a fan of that, but I just grew up in an era where men don't do that stuff, man. It's just me.
Jeff Payton asked you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Kuz, here's a hypothetical. Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game, and Texas wins. Do either team go to the playoff?
If that's their only loss, let me back up a minute. If Oklahoma goes undefeated and wins, I think they get in because they'll be undefeated. If they drop a game somewhere along the way, I don't know that they do because they'll have dropped the game likely to an unranked team.
What if they go with that one loss? What if that's Oklahoma's very first loss?
Right. Yeah, well, it could be. It could be. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I think Texas has a better chance to get in with their loss to Oklahoma than Oklahoma would have to get in if they have a loss to, say, West Virginia or Oklahoma State or whoever.
Oklahoma goes undefeated and they lose to Texas, and Texas don't lose to anybody, and they both have one loss at the end of the year.
I think Texas gets in.
Does both get in or just one gets in?
Probably it'll be one or neither. I don't think they both get in because you're going to have.
But when you're with Alabama and Georgia, we beat Georgia and they still got in.
I know. I think. It's obviously going to depend on the teams around them and what they do. You got Washington, who's on track to maybe get in. You've got, of course, they've still got the Pac-12 title game coming up. That's going to be a tough one for them. And I don't know if they might have Oregon State too if they haven't played them yet. That'll be a tough one. But I haven't looked. I don't know the Pac-12 schedule, but they got a couple tough games left on their schedule. But they got a shot to get in. It's just going to depend on what the teams around them do. It's possible they both get in, but because of the Big 12 being down this year, I just don't think the committee is going to put both of them in. I really don't. And I think Texas still has the better shot of getting in because of they played Alabama and beat them, number one. That's going to go a long way, I think, to the committee. And Oklahoma's really only tough game so far has been Texas as far as the perception of the opponent. Now, let's just take West Virginia as a hypothetical. Say West Virginia wins the rest of their games until we play Oklahoma and we're ranked. That might matter. It might help a little bit if they beat us. But, I still think Texas is going to have the best win of the two going into that game over a non-conference opponent or even an opponent that's not each other, would be a better way to put it.
Well, Michael Parks seems to have a lot of faith in Texas getting a rematch win, a revenge type Rocky 2.
He could go. He could do it. It's that game as close as the first one was. It's a toss up in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that, Lori. Whoever gets Caleb is going to
looking like it.
Diva type antics. Hey, Lori, where did Killer Breeze go? I had highlighted one of his comments and I never got to read it out, but tell Killer Breeze to get his ass back in here.
And speaking of Caleb Williams, I want to. Not only do I'm not a huge fan of him painting his fingernails, but painting disrespectful things to the other team on him is even worse.
What does that say about your head coach? They allow him to do that. You think Nick Saban would allow one of his players to paint that kind of shit on their fingernails?
I don't think Neil Brown would either.
There ain't many coaches that would. It's just like the Colorado State coach said, look, man, show some respect for the business. Show some respect for the etiquette that's been established for 100 years.
And respect your opponent.
Yeah, and respect your opponent. You come in here bitching and whining about respect and demanding people call you coach, and then you pull some of the antics that you pull, man. That's why people don't respect you, because you don't respect them. If you want respect, you got to give it in return, man. And it doesn't seem like Neon Deion wants to do that. That's the issue I got with him, man.
Yeah,
he don't want to earn his respect.
Yeah, Deion's he's a unique. For me, he's a very interesting study of social behavior or behavior. I don't know how to describe it, but he's just a unique guy, man. Because I like a lot of the things he does. But then on the other end, I really just hate a lot of the things he does. So it's really, I find myself conflicted on him a lot of times.
I hate that he seems like he hides behind religion sometimes.
I don't think he's hiding behind it. I mean, I think he means it. I think he's a Christian. I don't have any doubts about that.
Well, I mean, if I'm a Christian, I don't invite that rapper to speak to my team.
That goes back to it, man. Black culture, rap is part of black culture, man.
Yeah, but that's not culture, man. There's rappers out there that don't speak like that.
How can you say that you're not black?
What about Ice Cube? He's not like that. You know,
he was back in the day,
but he's not anymore, right?
Well, maybe this guy's. I don't know enough about the guy he brought in.
This guy hasn't seen the right of the way. This guy's still talking about, treating women like whores and.
Yeah, I mean that's not. Yeah, he shouldn't. I have no.
That shouldn't be any culture.
I don't like it either, but
being a gangster shouldn't be of any culture. To say it's part of black culture, I'm just not buying it, man.
Yeah, he could have picked a different rapper. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Yes. So your issue was with the person he picked, not the type of music they were playing.
Oh no, I like rap music, man. As a matter of fact, I mean, back in the day, I was a big Run DMC fan.
Yeah. I can. Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one. I thought that was
necessarily have anything against some of the rap, having sexual overtones. I just don't think it's a good choice to have as a speaker.
Yeah, and
if you're portraying yourself as a Christian. If you're portraying yourself as a Christian, that's something you probably don't want to be associated with. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, but we got to be careful, though. And this is me speaking in my opinion here. You got to be able to forgive people too. I mean, that's one of the cores of Christianity is forgiveness. So maybe Deion feels like that guy has changed and he wants to forgive him. I don't know.
Killer Breeze says Longhorn fans are like my drunk cousin. They piss me off, but they're family. I didn't know you had some long pudding relatives, man. I'm sorry. Did I hurt some of your relatives' feelings there, Killer? What'd Jeff say? Oh,
Lord.
Flexing with puny muscles.
And Mike, I do agree with that. Mike M's comment at the bottom. I do agree with that too, Mike. That's why I'm conflicted on him sometimes, because he shows no sign of humility whatsoever.
Exactly.
And I struggle with that.
That's why I think it's fake, man.
I respect the fact that he's open about his faith and all that, and is not afraid to mention it in public and always talking about it and all that. I think he even got his wrist slapped by the school because he talked about it so much, because they didn't like it. But I guess the ACLU or somebody got involved. I don't know. But anyway, because they're a public institution. But I don't know if you knew that story or not. But nonetheless, but at the same time, there are a lot of things he does that I don't think portray what he's speaking. You know what I mean? So it's but at the same time, I didn't grow up, some people that grow up in really, really poor backgrounds and stuff, when they do get successful, they probably are going to be more likely to flaunt that success, or maybe not mean it in a braggadocious way, but just be proud of it. I don't know.
Well, you was talking about you were surprised that SNL, Saturday Night Live, that they done on Deion, because usually SNL is sort of a liberal leaning kind of show that, they adhere to the woke agenda and stuff like that. And it seems like Deion's a part of that. But I think because what you said, they see him as being one of those people that's pushing his religious faith and proud to be a believer in Christ, that they saw him as not a part of the woke agenda, and that's why they attacked him. They had their opportunity and they went after him. See, that's what's happening with Deion now is he's rode the fence. He's on the woke side and he's on the more conservative moral side, and it's coming back to bite him a little bit.
What's he been woke about?
What's that?
Be more specific. What has he been woke about?
Well, he's like inviting the rapper to speak to the team, just stuff that the general
Yeah, I don't see that as being woke. I just see that as being.
I might use the wrong word, but it seems like liberal people are more inclined to like that kind of stuff that's sort of immoral and stuff that pisses people off, that conservative people and whatnot.
I got you. Yeah, I could see that. I could possibly see that. I don't see Deion as being on. Deion's his own guy to a degree. I tell you what, I have more of an issue with the media and how they have covered him than I do him as a person because they are absolutely kissing his hind end.
Yeah.
So bad. It is ridiculous, man.
Well, they were riding the fence with him.
I've not seen anything like it. I don't know what's worse, him or Taylor Swift. I mean, oh my gosh, it's terrible. It's like everybody's afraid to say anything negative about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And then they kiss his behind, and then when he starts losing, they're like, oh, now we can start taking shots. The media will turn on you in a heartbeat, man. It don't take much.
Yeah, I mean, it's unreal. I mean, like, have you heard what Skip Bayless says about him? I'm like, Skip, shut up, man. I mean, he said what was it he said the other day? He would be the greatest I don't want to misquote him, but it was like, I was like, dude, I mean, he threw out some outlandish, he was going to win multiple championships he just went way out there. I'm like, dude, at that time he had won like 2 or 3 games. I'm like, calm down, man. He ain't even coached his first season yet at this level.
He barely won
he's already wanting to put him on the Mount Rushmore already. You know what I mean? It's just, it's ridiculous.
He barely won the state of Colorado championship. So they better pump the brakes.
Let the guy coach a season or two before you crown him the best coach ever.
There's actually a team in Colorado that's undefeated right now. That's Air Force. So,
the Air Force is good, man.
I'd like to see Colorado play the Air Force, man. There'd be some comeuppance in that game probably. Anthony Manzino says the locker room is going to turn on Deion soon after those comments saying the kids don't enjoy football. I saw that in the press conference. He said that his kids just didn't enjoy football as much.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure he told them that to their face. I don't think they'll turn on him. I mean, look what he did in his opening meeting when he told them they weren't going to be there. I mean, I think he tells it like it is. So I think they know that about him. But they might turn on him if they start losing. You could start seeing some dissension in the ranks, so to speak, because losing doesn't make anybody feel warm and fuzzy.
Well, losing to Stanford and losing a 29-0 lead on top of it. This is a team that lost to Sacramento State, man, by double digits. Well,
and the whole deal about Shador, if he don't get that under control, it could cause dissension in the locker room, man.
Sakazulu?
Huh?
Sakazulu?
Yeah, Shador. How would you? I'm not going to make fun of the kid's name now. I won't go that far.
Why not?
Huh?
I'm trying to corrupt you tonight, man. What's wrong?
I know you are. But he can't help his name.
Gang banging people.
Yeah, I was a bad use of words.
No,
I can't read. I'm from West Virginia. Anyway,
I'll try blaming on that.
I don't know what I was even going. Oh, if Shador doesn't start reining it in a little bit, or if Deion doesn't rein him in a little bit, I mean, imagine if you're a player on that team and you already know he's the coach's kid, right?
Exactly.
And if he starts getting way out, and he's the quarterback of the team, he's supposed to be the leader of the team, right? He's not supposed to be out here flashing watches and, selling merch at halftime. And
that's
all. What I mean?
I could understand after the game, maybe even that's a little flamboyant, but during the halftime, really?
Yeah, that's way. I mean, and Stanford had already started their comeback, hadn't they? At that point.
Yeah, Deion in the press conference said that he didn't know how to wrap his head around it, that he didn't know what to say, that he'd never been a part of something like this. And I'm like, you better wrap your head around that shit real fast because
again,
they're off this week, luckily for them.
Who sets the culture of the team? The head coach, right?
Exactly.
It's up to him to rein them in. But like, go back to what you were talking about. He walks around with gold chains on and sunglasses, and he's enabling that stuff,
Exactly.
And I have no issue with him doing that, but there's a time and a place for that stuff. You know what I mean? And I don't think the football locker room is probably, and I get it, it's probably his personality, and I understand that too, and that's what attracts the recruits and all. But there's got to be a balance there where he's going to have to rein that locker room in and those guys in, or this thing could go off the rails quick.
Justin Goss has got his badge. He wants to know, what do we think the percentage is that Colorado makes a bowl? He's putting it at 25%.
I think it's higher than that. Let me look at their schedule real quick. I think I predicted them to go 6-6 in a conversation I was having with somebody.
While Kuz looks that up, if y'all don't mind, jump out of the chat, smash the like button to push this stream out to more people, hit the algorithm up for us, and get more people up in here in the party. Right. Also, you'll see that people have their badges in here. Killer Breeze, Anthony Manzano, Mike Wilkerson. If you want to get your badge and get deputized, it's $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. It's a join button next to the subscribe button. You get your badge and get deputized. You'll get your random 4 horseman shout out on the podcast, as well as possibly be the comment of the day. Also, if you want to get your comment highlighted and get me and Kuz to read it out, just click on the money $ at the bottom of the video, write your comment out and send it, and we'll read it out.
All right. I see they play UCLA. That's a loss. That'll be 4-4. Oregon State's a loss. That's 4-5. Earlier in the year, I had Arizona as a win. Arizona's playing pretty darn good right now.
Yeah, how did they beat Washington State 44-6?
I don't know, but that's no longer a gimme win. I tell you what, man. Then they got Washington State and Utah. I tell you what,
Washington State banged up or hurt? Do they have some injuries or something to contribute to such a lopsided
loss? I honestly
loss?
don't know. I haven't followed them
because Washington State was playing like gangbusters, man. They were like off the chain good, man. And also
Arizona. I think Arizona has just been playing that well too.
I mean, I think it's a big red flag. Maybe they had some injuries or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but now I'll tell you what. Now looking at the schedule, now looking at it again based on what's happened up to this point in the season, I think they end up finishing 5-7 and missing a bowl game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking they might.
I think they'll win one more game. They'll probably beat either Arizona or maybe Washington State, one of the two. But I don't think they will beat them both. And they might beat UCLA, but I doubt it because it's at UCLA.
Who was the other team?
Huh?
Who was the other team?
Colorado. They closed the season at Utah. They're not winning that one.
Yeah. Well, Utah's offenses look like crap. Is Cam Rising coming back or not?
No, I don't think so. They found out his injury is a lot worse than they originally said.
Well, Utah could be in trouble, man. I mean, they're
still winning though. They're still 5-1.
I know, but they're like Alabama. They're barely winning, man.
They're winning with defense, is what they're doing. Utah's defense is elite,
just like Alabama.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a good point. Well, I don't know if they're good enough. I mean, so we can say all the negative we want to about Colorado. Their offense is good. They can put up points. So
unless they play in Oregon.
Yeah, true. So we'll see how good Utah's defense is in that game.
They haven't played a good defense since Oregon, I don't think.
Yeah, well, Stanford wasn't. Arizona State wasn't. USC, I don't think they even played defense. I think they just hand the other team the ball in the end zone.
Skittle shitters out there, man.
Yeah, you're right. They haven't really. But UCLA might give them. UCLA should beat them, but UCLA, I don't know how good UCLA is.
UCLA's got a decent defense this year.
I know they're ranked, so they should be. They're pretty good, obviously. But yeah, I see Colorado winning one more. The rest of the way.
Stink ass cat says issue with Sanders. He thought he was going to be reinvent college football, and the damn media believed him. There you go, Kuz. Read that one out.
Yeah, I know this is a football show, but I have to ask Kuz a question. First year post Huggins in basketball will be what? I haven't done my schedule breakdown yet, but just off the top of my head, knowing what I know, I'm saying they win around 18, 19 games, and make the NCAA tournament. That's because of the talent. Now that's all. We have a really, really talented player who's waiting on a waiver from the NCAA on his eligibility. A lot of it may depend on that. He's that good. Him playing could determine whether we go to the tournament or not.
Apex Gaming in the house says he loves our videos and live streams. Big love from the Stokes family over here in Oklahoma. Yeah, the Stokes clan represents pretty hard up in here.
Man, they do. That's another Stokes channel there, Apex Gaming. Wow.
I didn't know that. You have Heath and Alice and Austin Stokes. They always coming up here.
Heath is also a member over at Couz's Corner. Thank you, Heath. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, Heath is he's got it going on, man. He's bounded up, saddled up, and he's getting that shot of top shelf college football knowledge at the saloon over there. Couz is running.
One of these days, I'm going to have me basically a bar set up behind me with, actual real deal. But that's down the road, man.
You need to have your little shot glasses of each team up there. Maybe.
I actually was going to do that one time, and I just never pulled the trigger on it because
you could sort of be like old Golden Blue dude, rest his soul. He'd be loving this ACC talk.
Oh man, I mentioned that in my video today. He would have been.
You could, he got people to send him helmets. You can get people to send you shot glasses.
Yeah, I should, but I just number one, I don't want to give people my address, and two, he went out and got him a PO box. I'm not that big yet, so
you will be for long.
Yeah, I'll get there. Hopefully.
An interesting game this week is Texas at Houston. That's interesting to me because Texas made a big stink about having to play in Houston. Some kind of incident took place with their fans down there. The stands fell apart or something.
Yeah.
Someone got hurt or something. They didn't want to go back.
Yeah.
Houston's first year in the conference, and surprise, your mark in the Big 12 is making Texas play in Houston. You think Texas can come back from that loss to Oklahoma and sort of right the ship? You think?
Yeah, they'll watch Houston, man. Houston's not very good.
Be sky high about the lucky ass win they got. You think?
Houston. I mean, look, we lost to them, but West Virginia made a gazillion mistakes in that game. We should not have lost it. I mean, I'm not trying to discredit Houston because they won the game, obviously, but they were the better team on that night. But I mean, if you look on paper, if they play that game 10 times, West Virginia's probably winning 8 of them. You know what I mean? It just West Virginia played bad and still took a Hail Mary to beat us.
That one win they got, they used it right there.
And I just don't. Texas is a lot more talented than West Virginia is. They're a lot more talented. Houston's got some talented guys. They've got a couple guys. They got a left tackle that'll probably be a first-round draft pick. They've got a really good nose guard. They've got really good wide receivers. But outside of that, they don't have a lot, and they don't have much depth at all, especially on the line of scrimmage. Texas will kill them at the line of scrimmage probably. And Texas might beat them by 30. But that being said, this is going to be Houston's Super Bowl.
Bailey said that right when you said it.
Did he?
Yeah.
But that being said, though, this is Houston's Super Bowl. They've been waiting for this game for, 30 years now?
I don't know how long it's been.
It's been about 30 years, maybe 20 years. I can't remember what Dana Holgerson said. I think he said 30 years. They've been waiting on this game. They got this game circled. Their AD's I heard their AD in an interview. He jokingly said, if Dana goes 1-11, but that one wins Texas, he's definitely not getting fired. That's how bad they want this game. So they'll come out ready to play, but I just don't. And they might hang with Texas for a quarter, maybe even a half. But at the end of the day, I see Texas.
The other team from Houston played them relatively close, I guess, for a couple of quarters. Rice. They didn't really beat Rice as bad as I thought they'd beat Rice early in
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rice beat Houston.
Rice did beat Houston.
Well, Rice has got JT Daniels, man.
Everybody's gonna have JT Daniels for long.
He's like 37.
He's like on tour and shit, ain't he?
Yeah.
He should have his own.
In all honesty, though, he's playing really well this year.
He might transfer to Alabama next year. Who knows?
Well, heck, we play Oklahoma State. They got Alan Bowman. You know when Alan Bowman played in Morgantown, Outlaw, in 2018.
Really?
Dana Holgerson was still our coach the last time we played Alan Bowman. That's how long he's been in college football. And we actually ruptured his punctured his a lung in that game against us, and he hasn't been the same since.
1989M has a question, fellas. What would y'all say the team is? What would y'all say the team is that has the best overall win so far this season? Sooners beating Texas, Washington beating Oregon, or the Longhorns beating Alabama? I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that one.
I'll go ahead and get mine. I'll say Oklahoma over Texas.
Yeah, I got to think about this one though.
Because it's sort of fresh.
Those are all good wins. The Husky Oregon win is good, but I would put it third on the list. I'm going to say Oklahoma beating Texas because I'm going to agree with you because of the rivalry that's there. That took it to another level and made it mean more.
Yeah, and the national implications of the game.
Yep. So I'm going to say Sooners. I mean, Longhorns beating Bama has national implications too.
Yeah, it did. But the fact is now Texas and Alabama both have a loss, so it sort of
right. But the Oklahoma-Texas one also had conference implications too.
Exactly.
So I think it was a little more important, plus the rivalry. So I'm going to say it would be one. Longhorns beating Bama would be two, and then Huskies beating Oregon would be three. Because
college football is a funny thing, and we're probably getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. As I've seen it happen before, we thought a win was the win that was just going to make the whole season. And like you said earlier, Oklahoma better have your head on a swivel now because, you know, you can get a little overconfident and get your head in the clouds a little bit after a big win like that and think you're back all the way. And a team like UCF, who's getting their quarterback back, coming in, might actually be able to sneak up on you a little bit.
Never know. And
Oklahoma State's playing a lot better. And that's an in-state rivalry, and Oklahoma State probably wants that game pretty bad right about now to send Oklahoma out of the conference with a loss and to spoil their chances at a national title would probably give Okie Pokey State a tent in their pants. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like you said. I mean, look at West Virginia for example. We beat TCU and Texas Tech, right? Well, Houston lost to both of those teams, and then Houston beats us. So I mean, it's just, and they didn't just lose. Houston got beat pretty handily by those two teams. Texas Tech beat them by 20. So, I mean, it's funny, man. All it takes is for your guys to have one bad day, and you lose the game.
Exactly. I mean, Alabama almost proved that last week. We was up 24-6 and almost lost to a 2-4 Arkansas team. I mean, they're now 2-5. But
one of West Virginia's linemen in an interview the other day, he spoke in front of the media, and he even said, we were, because West Virginia and Houston both had bye weeks going into that game. He said mentally we were still on our bye week. He admitted it. They weren't mentally in the game. And if you do that in this sport, you're going to get beat.
And it's always the unexpected loss too.
And especially if you're a team like Oklahoma or Texas or Alabama, every team you play has your game circled on the calendar.
That's right. And
you're always going to get their best.
I remember that year Purdue beat Ohio State by like 28 points, and they ended up 6-6. But they screwed Ohio State out of the playoffs. That one loss to a 6-6 team, I mean, that's like you said, that's their Super Bowl, man. Yep. They only got to get up for one game. Teams like Oklahoma and Ohio State and Alabama, they have to get up for every game. Jeff says Alabama beat Alabama in the Texas game because the score would have been worlds different and Milrose doesn't throw the 2 interceptions. Yeah, that's true, but turnovers are a part of the game. And if you make a turnover, the other team's not going to give it back to you. So that's totally Texas winning that game. They won the game. They beat us. If we had gotten 2 turnovers against Texas, would you be saying the same thing? Is my question.
I saw a comment. You care if I address a comment real quick?
Sure.
Let me see if I can get to it here. I don't think it'll let me. Yeah, let me scroll. I think it will. Let me find it. It was one of your members too. Oh, Justin Goss. He said he didn't know my name, which is fine. It's Coos, by the way. But he said, would WVU fire Neil Brown and get Jimbo at the end of the year? I hope not. I do not want. Look,
you don't want Jimbo Fisher?
No.
Oh, man. Come on, man.
No.
Look, man, it might just be where he's at. Maybe he's not happy where he's at.
It could be. It could be. Now, look,
I think that's got a lot to do with it. I don't think he's happy there, man.
If West Virginia tanks and we end up winning 4 or 5 games, and, I'll probably be so mad at Neil Brown, I'll be glad to take Jimbo at that point. But right now, no.
Anthony Manzano says, thoughts on my last comment. I didn't see your last comment. Like I was telling everybody in here, there's so many comments coming in here, I can't see them all.
Yeah, I saw it. Let me see if I can find it for you. I saw it pop up.
You can make a donation, and it'll highlight it for you if you want to do that.
It's right here. It says opinions on since the beginning of the season, the national media has been calling Colorado the next Miami, even though the Hurricanes are still in college football. I don't know that I understand the question. I'll let you roll with that one.
Well, you ain't got to, like I said, you can highlight your comment if you want me to read it out. I just,
yeah.
I know you're a channel member and whatnot, but sometimes I just can't get to them all. But if you're asking what I think about Colorado being the next Miami, they haven't won a national championship. Miami won 5 national championships. I think 3 of them or 4 of them were during that time period that you're talking about. 4 of them were during that time period. And they could back it up. Deion Sanders hadn't done anything to back it up. So all he's doing right now is just being a loudmouth, and people don't respect a loudmouth, That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, I don't think you can compare Colorado to Miami.
Miami won 4 national titles in that.
Colorado won 1 that I know of.
Yeah, but they didn't win it when Deion Sanders was there. So,
No. They won it in 1990. So I don't see. That's what I say. I mean,
for them to compare them they compare as far as mannerisms go. They act just like them.
That might be where he's talking about. Maybe he's talking about the hype they're getting and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it does remind me a lot of Miami in the fact that they're doing a lot of unsportsmanlike stuff and stuff that it's sort of a slap in the face to their opponents, disrespectful. But the only thing is they're not backing it up like Miami did. Miami was hated so badly because not only did they do that, but then they went out there and whooped your ass. So they haven't done that yet. They haven't proven to me they can beat a good defense yet.
Yeah. Well, they can't stop anybody. Their defense is terrible.
Who you taking home on country roads there, bro?
They were singing a song in the chat, and I was just continuing.
Okay.
Killer Breeze has started it. Blame him.
Killer Breeze, man. Killer Breeze. He's got a lot of talent. Where's Lloyd Brogdon at, by the way? I think Lloyd's got a little crush on Killer Breeze. They'll be talking each other up in there.
Yeah, Anthony, we were talking about that earlier, man. The way the national media is and I don't want to say what I'm thinking right now, but they have been kissing Deion Sanders' hind end to the point of making me nauseous.
It's like you said, I don't mind them saying that they think Deion's going to win. It's the fact that when he's in the wrong, they're unwilling to criticize him. And everybody deserves to be criticized, even Nick Saban. I mean, I've criticized my own coach before. Everybody deserves to be criticized, no matter how much money they make and how many games they win. Everybody deserves to be criticized at some point.
But it's not even that. They embellish everything. Like Skip made some kind of, I don't remember I think it was something about he might win 10 championships or something. It was something crazy. Like it's ridiculous. It's okay to say he's a good coach and he's doing a good job and turning the program around or whatever. But they go overboard with it. Like they take it to another level. and it's just ridiculous.
I read this next comment out for me.
Mike, the one on the screen?
Yeah.
Shaka Zulu needs to get his ass out that Rolls Royce and in the film room.
I just wanted to make you call him Shaka Zulu. I got you. I've been dying for him to call him Saka Zulu. The reason why
Is that where you got that from?
I call him Saka Zulu, man, because he got sacked so many times. It sort of rhymes with Shaka Zulu.
Oh, I got you.
African King or whatever that movie was called.
I didn't know where you got that from.
I've been accused of being racist for saying Shaka Zulu, but Shaka Zulu is not a racist term. It's a movie about.
I didn't know where you got it from.
It's about a warrior.
I thought you were making fun of his name. To be honest,
Shaka Zulu is an African warrior. It should actually be a compliment. It's not nothing racist. I just don't like him. Well, I mean, I have asked that Nick Saban retire. He's talking about they're calling for Nick Saban to be fired if he don't win 10 games this year. I think Nick Saban should retire, in my opinion, not because he lost a game, but I was just saying, why not go out on top instead of start losing games like Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno did? Why not go out on top? Why do these coaches have to wait until they start going 6-6 to retire? That's what I was saying.
Hey, wait a minute. Looks like, are you playing Matchmaker, Outlaw?
Yes, I am.
Between Lori Brogdon? Okay. Okay.
Multifaceted, talented show,
My
man.
gosh.
It's
the
like
Love Doctor. The outlaw of the Love Doctor of college football. We're changing your name.
It's like the dating game. Remember back in the day, he was like, give him that big old kiss before he leaves. What are y'all doing in there, Kill Breeze? Justin said y'all doing something naughty in there. Y'all over there naked.
Hey, Killer Breeze is a man. He's 50.
That's right. I'm a man. I'm 50. I'm Killer Breeze. I'm 52.
Outlaw chat dating.
What's that?
Killer Breeze called you the outlaw of chat dating.
That's right.
Oh gosh. Read Justin's comment above that one.
Holy shit.
You'd quit rooting for him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I ain't read that shit ever. I'll let Kill Breeze read if he wants to read it. I ain't reading that shit. Well, I don't think we're going to get Kirby because Kirby's at his alma mater. Georgia has just as much money as we do. He asked me if we think we get Dabo or Kirby. We could get Dabo, Sweeney, but I don't think we will because there's a lot of Alabama fans that have actually turned on Dabo because of his stance on the NIL and the transfer portal. He don't seem like he wants to catch up with the times a little bit, and
right.
I think it's going to hurt him in recruiting if he keeps on with what he's doing. I think he's probably going to come around, but Dabo would be a better option because I don't think Kirby's coming. Now, Kirby might leave for an NFL job, but I don't see Kirby leaving unless it's an NFL job. $20 donation from Heath Stokes. The Stokes clan's in the house. Please tell me which family member is Apex Gaming is. Love you. Just trying to count heads. Just want to say, please support this channel. Talks real content. No left, no right. Just straight down the middle. That's right. I get branded sometimes as a conservative, but I really ain't. I'm a registered Democrat. I'm just not a liberal Democrat. I don't know who Apex is, man. Why are you asking me, man? You like Genghis Khan, man. Y'all got a bunch of Stokes running around here. You see a good comment?
What's that? Yeah, well, I got her. I don't see very well. I'm having to get close to the screen to read some of these.
Teresa said I need to hook her up. Well, hell. I should change my nickname to Outlaw. Instead of OCF, it could be the I don't know. I thought you were married, Teresa. Can't be in here cheating on your husband now. You're going to get me shut down for real. Yeah, I heard about that. She says that Colin Coward has suddenly had a changing of heart when it comes to the Sooners, that he's actually talking them up. My response to that is don't let him off the hook. Don't even let him have that plate of crow. Slap that shit right out of his hands and don't let him have it, man.
Hey, remember the famous speech by Dennis Green when he was coach of the Vikings?
Yes.
We are who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
That's right. That's what Colin. Dennis Green would be telling Deion Sanders right now and Lincoln Riley. Deion Sanders was epic. I'm not epic, but not Deion Sanders. Dennis Green was epic. Don't make me say Deion was epic, man. What the hell?
Mark says he's a Republicat. That's what you are, Republicat.
Yeah, I am a Democrat. I registered as a Democrat back when I was 18 years old. The lady down at the voting office told me I had to choose a party, which I found out she was a liar. And so at the time, Democrats were the thing in the South. You got to remember, I'm not very young. So back in the day, to be Democrat was a part of being in the South. But now the Democratic Party, I do not claim anymore because they have been hijacked by a bunch of liberal spastics. So actually, I'm really just an independent, to answer your question there.
I'm saying.
Heath Stokes with another $10 donation. I don't see a comment with that, Heath, but I'll just say thank you.
Same story for me. I did the same thing.
Heath Stokes, his comments are yellow. I think Kuz must have highlighted your shit because that's that West Virginia yellow.
Hey. Apparently StreamYard's a West Virginia fan.
Yeah, man, I really hate that game happening because I think West Virginia was on their way to probably at least a 9-win season.
I wish I had a camera on myself when our receiver Hudson Clement scored that touchdown with 12 seconds left. Dude, I'm telling you, I was going nuts. I was flipping the bird to Dana Holgerson on the TV. I was running around, jumping up and down, screaming.
Your boy Mountaineer Paul had already made a podcast titled Mountaineers Pull Out Dramatic Win. And he got on there doing a live stream with that title still there. I said, I think you might want to go change the title of your video, brother.
Yeah, I did it too. And I think I told my daughter, I said, I just jinxed us. I had already made a headline that said, down goes Dana. And then they scored the Hail Mary like two.
I didn't really think it was that big of a deal at first, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal at first. But these penalties after scoring a game-winning touchdown are really costing teams. I've seen so many teams get good field position on the ensuing kickoff, pull off a miracle win because of that penalty.
Yep.
And they need to address that. Coaches really need to start hammering that shit home, man.
Well, I mean, it's our two best – for us, it's been our two best players that have done it. What are you supposed to do? You can't bench them.
Got another question for you. I'll let you read it.
Yeah, I'll answer this, and I'm going to have to run, brother. It says, this is more for Coos. I've known Dabo 36 years, and I think Dabo would only come back to Tuscaloosa because of his wife's parents living in Alabama. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't come to Alabama. I'm just like Outlaw. I'm not sure the fans would. I'm not sure they'd want him back now because of his refusal to embrace the transfer portal and NIL. Now, if he changes it on that, I'm sure they would be willing to take him. But I think Dabo would probably be willing to coach at Alabama for sure because that's his alma mater, right?
It is. He played in the 1992 national championship team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why most coaches, that's their dream job, especially if it's Alabama. So
I at first thought he would probably be the next guy, but like you said, there's been some. Not only that, but he said some things about Alabama too that wasn't so nice, and they don't forget. I can't remember exactly what he said now, but he said something that pissed some people off even before that. So
I got 50-20 Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma does play UCF this week, as we discussed before. Their starting quarterback's coming back, so I was thinking, this might be a spot where Oklahoma may be primed for an upset. But you're going to take Oklahoma 50-20. Is that what you said?
That's what I said. Yeah.
Over UCF.
Yep.
Yeah, I hope it's not one of those deals where, like with SMU, where they come in and sort of were lethargic against SMU.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. I could see Oklahoma struggling for a quarter or two and then pulling away late third, fourth quarter maybe. I'll say you say their defense is horrid, huh?
UCS is terrible. Oh, yeah, they're terrible. I think they have the worst defense in the conference.
Might be right along the lines where yours is at, maybe. I think it'll be close at halftime, and then they'll pull away. I'll say Oklahoma 41 and UCF 17. That's Apex Gaming was Heath's son. I told you it was one of your offspring running around. Heath got them seated everywhere. Apex Gaming. He's got a gaming channel, huh? We got a guy on here that frequents the channel. His name's Kane Reeds. His name's Brandon Dunn. He's got a gaming channel, Apex Gaming. If you want to go check out Kane Reeds' channel, spelled Kanereads. It's a gaming channel, and he's an Oklahoma fan. So you guys might hit it off big time. So I see there's no more dating going on in here, so I can be relieved about that. I ain't got to worry about.
Well, I mean, they're Lori's trying to get Killer Breeze to take her out to dinner next year when she comes to whatever Norman or Tuscaloosa, wherever it was she was going.
Where y'all going on a date at, man?
It's like a year from now, though. That's too long, man.
Yeah, that's too long to wait, man. You're gonna have to go on up there. She lives up there next to Canton, Ohio. She lives up there by the is that the NFL Hall of Fame?
Yes, it is actually. Football Hall of Fame.
We go up there to see the NFL Hall of Fame, and maybe we can meet Lori. She's been wanting me to come up there to the NFL Hall of Fame. I've never been there. Have you ever been to the Hall of Fame?
I have not. It's on my bucket list.
I don't know. I'd like to go to the College Football Hall of Fame. That's in Atlanta now, right?
I honestly don't know.
Somebody had said earlier that Alabama was going to get James Franklin. That's a possibility. James Franklin doesn't seem happy at Penn State. Every time a job opening comes open, he's floating his name out there, especially for the USC job. His name was mentioned quite profoundly for that opening.
If I was him, I would wait a year or two before I leave Penn State because they might have a shot at a national championship next year, if not this year. They're extremely young.
Lori doesn't seem to think there'll be a letdown. She says 73-0 Oklahoma over UCF.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that bad, but it'll be. I mean, UCF's given up almost 28 a game. They're 12th in the Big 12 in scoring defense. Oklahoma's scoring 45 a game. Now, on the flip side, UCF's putting up about 40 a game themselves. But Oklahoma has a good defense too, so Oklahoma's only giving up 14 a game.
Oklahoma's defense did give up 30 to Texas, but that's
Oklahoma
Texas.
has the best scoring defense and offense in the Big 12.
I think it's going to be closer than they expect because coming off the great emotional win and whatnot. The only good thing about it, like I said, was they got a week off. It probably served them well.
Well, brother, I'm gonna have to jump off of here.
All right, bro.
I appreciate you having me on.
All right, just give us your information before you leave so they can get some subscribers for you.
Yeah, I'm over on Kuz's Corner on I'm about to say Facebook. I'm on Facebook too. But yeah, on YouTube I'm at Kuz's Corner. Cover West Virginia, the Big 12, and a lot of conference realignment. You can find me on Twitter at Kuz206. I have a basketball channel called Hoops from the Hills. Come check me out there as well with my partner Mountaineer Paul, who has a channel called Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. And then, like I said, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I'm on all of them. I also have a website, by the way. I have a blog site as well. I don't advertise it a lot, but I do have one. Just Kuz'sCorner.com, COUZS Corner.com. Come check me out. And Outlaw, thanks again for having me on, brother. And thanks for letting me be a member of the Outlaw Posse.
That's right. And Q what?
Q Country Roads and have a top shelf night.
That's right. And that was Kuz's Corner. He's a good old boy. He's helped me out a lot, just like Jonathan Lewis and Golden Blue Dude. God rest his soul. If y'all missed it earlier, we talked about expansion as possibility that maybe the ACC is looking at raiding the Big 12. Y'all give me your thoughts on that before we get out of here. I'd like to know what y'all think about possible conference expansion going forward. Do you think the ACC will raid the Big 12, or do you think that maybe the Big 12 is going to turn those tables around on them? I could see that happening. Brett Yormark has surprised a lot of people. The Pac-12 had a chance to kill off the Big 12, and they listened to Kevin Warren's snaky ass over at the Big 10, and now the Pac-12 is the one that got killed off. And Brett Yormark righted the ship, got the best 4 G5 schools out there. And would not surprise me if maybe there was somewhat of a war between the Big 12 and the ACC to see who was the third best conference going forward. Because I think it's going to microcosm down to just 3 major conferences one day. And I think there's going to be anywhere from 66 to 72 teams from how I was looking at it. What do y'all think about that? Jeff Payton's in the house. Jeff Payton says, Justin Goss, I know how well James Franklin did in Nashville. I just don't see him Happy Valley for an SEC job. Well, Jeff, I was saying earlier that, James Franklin has put his name and floated his name out there for numerous jobs since he's been at Penn State. USC comes to mind. He was a big candidate for the USC job. And whether he just done that to get a raise, I don't know, Jeff. You could be right. Maybe he's just doing that to get a raise. But I don't know if James Franklin would be a good fit for Alabama or not. If Marcus Freeman continues to be more consistent with Notre Dame, I could see us going after Marcus Freeman. That's one from probably left field. I also have said ad nauseum that I do like Chris Kleiman of Kansas State. And the number 1 leading candidate, I think Lloyd Brogdon and Killer Breeze and Mike Wilkerson and Matt Bingham and the Stokes clan, Heath, Alice, and Austin, all like it when I say Alabama's number 1 candidate would be Brent Venables. What am I paying for? Well, I got to pay for it for. Where y'all going? We going to go to the Coyote Ugly? We go to Coyote Ugly in Nashville. I've never been to Coyote Ugly. I always loved that movie. Yes, I know it's a chick flick. I know. But I like it. I like it. Matter of fact, I'm going to get up on that damn bar and dance in that fire. That's where we're going to go. We're going to take Lloyd Brogdon and the Outlaw Posse. We're all going to get together. Here's an idea. Let's all get together in Nashville for a Vanderbilt game and take over a Vanderbilt game. And then after the game, we'll go out to all the great bars down there. Great music. You ain't even got to get drunk. Great music. Every kind of music you can think of in Nashville. It's not just country music. We can have a hell of a time. Matter of fact, like I said, I'll get on that damn bar at the Coyote Ugly. Dare me. Triple dog dare me. Just like the movie Christmas Story. I'll stick my damn tongue right on that damn frozen pole, except it'll be on the bar at the Coyote Ugly. Yeah? What are you saying hell no to? You gonna go? You gonna go? You gonna get on that bar too? You gonna get on that bar and dance with me? There we go. Hey, right there, Lori. Right there. You know what Lori asked me? They told me she done, Killer Breeze. I should bring you on here just for the next 15 to 20 minutes to express yourself as to what you feel about Jason Watkins of HOF Marshmallow. She said she sent out my my little montage that I done today about the Oklahoma inspirational tale that I done today. She said she forwarded it to Jason Watkins so he could help push us. And Jason ain't got but 2,400 subs. Look here now, Killer. I'm gonna invite. Well, no, it's probably too late now. But Killer Breeze, you need to give Lori Brogdon the down low on old Marshmallow, because she was loving on him today. Oh yeah, Air Force plays Navy this week. A lot of y'all probably don't really care too much about that, but Air Force is undefeated. They're the top rated G5 school now. They'll get that little bowl bid to a New Year's Six bowl if they continue their undefeated ways. I would love to see Air Force get that. Would that be awesome to see one of the military schools make it into one of the New Year's Six bowls before this whole conference realignment thing pushes out all the little guys? Love to see the Air Force get up there. I'd like to see the Air Force get in the playoffs. That'd be the greatest thing in the world, to see one of the military schools get in the playoffs this year. Now, when we go to 12 teams, that could definitely be a possibility that Air Force makes playoffs. Air Force seems like they've always been, overall, consistently the last 40 or 50 years, the best military school in college football. Although Navy had their little son, their little can't even talk. They had their shining light there for a little while. And they got to where they could beat Notre Dame and whatnot. But it seems like we're going back to Air Force being the dominant military school once again. C. John says, if FSU and Clemson leave, assuming to the SEC, ACC is in big trouble. The Big Ten will respond with UNC and Notre Dame or other ACC universities. At that point, ACC is toast. I can see that. C. John. Like I said earlier, you'll see these people with their badges in here. Fred Bagley's in the house. Killer Breeze, Mike Wilkerson, among others. Tim Gillespie, whenever he's in here, they all have their badge. If you want to be an outlaw posse like them and get your badge and be deputized, it's $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week is a join button next to the subscribe button. And you'll get your badge, you'll be deputized, and you'll get a random Four Horsemen shout out on the podcast, as well as possibly be the comment of the day. Also, if you want to donate to the show right now, there's a little $sign down here, and you can make a comment, and it will get highlighted if you hit that little $sign down there. It's all good, brother. Sometimes you can make it, sometimes you can't. We're just there talking shit. What the hell is chivalry? Jeff? You don't know nothing about no chivalry, Jeff. Jeff's like the male horror of Chattanooga. He's on Lookout Mountain, like Ric Flair. Jeff Payton takes him to Lookout Mountain. instead of Space Mountain, he takes him to Lookout Mountain. Jeff Payton's like the godfather of Chattanooga. Killer Breeze. Heath Stokes with a $10 donation. That's how you do it right there. You just hit that $sign bottom of the video and make your comment and send it. And it'll highlight it like it did for Heath Stokes with a $10 donation. Killer Breeze, thank you for what you have done for the OCF. Keep it rolling. Got to work early. Love the vibe. Boomer Sooner. I can't even speak tonight, man. I have to get me some damn tequila before I start this show from now on. But Boomer Sooner, anybody else, piss off. Boomer and Roll Tide. That's how it's done. He's riding off into the sunset. Him and Apex Gaming and Alice have left the building like Elvis. Well, a bunch of y'all from Oklahoma in here, Fred. So join the majority. Craig Smith coming here with a little funny comment. That's already been said, Craig. We all know Lincoln Riley is about to retire early because he said he was. He's setting himself up like Urban Liar. He's a shady little bastard, and I only wish him the worst. And I hate to be like that, but damn, man. He hasn't been able to keep his mouth shut about Oklahoma for the past 3 years now, or 2 years, or however long it's been. Appreciate you, Mark Hampton. Appreciate you being a part of the show. Our numbers weren't as big tonight, but we'll get that rectified this Sunday night. Maybe we'll have a dating show or something. Maybe we'll have Lori Brogdon on here, and we'll have her a couple of guys behind the screen. We'll put Deion Sanders back there for her, and we'll put Lincoln Riley back there for her. And then we'll put George Contupis back there for her. And we'll let her pick. We'll let Lord pick and be like the dating game. She'll either get George Contupis, Time Deion Sanders, or Linky Boy Riley. Yeah, it is. I wish I could branch out a little bit. Nothing against y'all, but I wish we could get some more fan bases up here. If y'all know any other friends of y'all's that's fans of other teams, just add them on up in here. Get them all up in here. What you laughing about, Laura? You got to make a choice, man. It's going to be the dating game next week. You got to make a choice, man. We're going to have a bunch of people behind the screen there. You got to pick. You got to pick, man. There you go. See, we got one roll tied up in here. I ain't alone up in here. I ain't riding alone. Just need to get Jeff in the posse. You need to get your badge, Jeff. It's not but $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. That's just a bottle of water. Join button, a subscribe button. Get your badge, get deputized, Jeff. Get your random Four Horsemen shout out on the podcast, as well as possibly be the comment of the day. And I guess I'm fixing to get up out of here as well. Y'all got anything else y'all want me to discuss or touch on before I get out of here? Plus, I got to do my new sign-off for Lori Brogdon and Killer Breeze, a.k.a. George Contupis. Anything? About to get up out of here. Going once, going twice. We will all party in Tuscaloosa soon. Okay, I'm ready. I'll be your tour guide. I won't get you lost like Gilligan's Island or any stupid shit like that, but I'll be your tour guide. With that, I'm out of here. And instead of KMCA to all the other teams and classes dismissed, I'm just going to give y'all a big old outlaw of college football dating game kiss for Lori Brogdon and George Contupis. Mwah! See y'all at the games this weekend, brothers and sisters. Now class is dismissed.